welcome to the Vault Report, GW edition. I'm here with Revolutionaries head coach Chris Caputo. Appreciate the time. I want to start with the most recent game against Hofstra. Just talk about, what you guys learned, the game you guys, led at the half. They came back, but you guys showed a lot of grit, specifically defensively. What did you like in that game?
Well, we have a lot of respect for the Hofstra program and success they've had over time. You know, not just back in the day when I was growing up with Coach Wright, and then when I was in the Colonial with Coach Pecora. But what Coach Claxton has done, it's just been incredible. So for them to have won, 20 something games for like six out of the last 8 years, I think that was a great win for our group to have a program that was in the NIT last year, early in the season, come into our building and us be able to hang on to that lead and extend it after they took a lead. I think it was a good step forward for our crew.
Absolutely. Don't mind the kids in the background.
I got my own, so you're good.
Part of the whole thing. I do want to talk. You look at the start 3-0. Obviously, we talked about this earlier. You want to learn and be 3-0 rather than 0-3.
Sure.
But, with that, what have you, beyond just the wins, what have you guys been focused on specifically in the practice in between these games where you see, all right, we can continue to get better? Because, of course, it's early. Yes, 3-0, but where's the biggest, room of improvement for you guys right now?
Well, I think that, when you look at our group, one of the biggest things is just an experience piece, right? Outside of James and Max, who I think, are all conference level players, and they've, I think, played to this point early in the season. We asked those guys to get in great shape. They were able to do that. We worked with different parts of those guys' games, but so many of our other players, are inexperienced, and so, just what it's like to prepare, what it's like to prepare to play, what it's like to prepare in a scouting report and learn your opponent and go through the process as we see that process through every day. Just in 3 games, I think has been an education for those guys. Some of it is, hey, understanding, hey, what my minutes are going to look like. Hey, what I need to do to earn more minutes. Hey, what I need to do when I'm in there. Hey, what are the things after the game that the coaches are talking to me about after the game? All that is new for guys like Garrett Johnson and Trey Autry and Jim Buchanan and Jacoy Hutchinson, and even guys like Benny Schroeder, who was only in school for 1 year and was hurt some, Stretch Akambala, who has a lot of experience in college basketball, but maybe not as much playing experience. And so, I think for our crew, just as we establish the program and how we go about our business every day, we did that last year, but now this year, some of these guys are going through it for the first time and they're learning it.
Well, and you touched on it because I think, especially in this era of college basketball with the transfer portal, there, age, we got a lot of old teams. You look at the Hofstra game. I mean, you mentioned Autry, Johnson, Buchanan, Hutchinson, all logging double-digit minutes, couple starters. What, I look at that, but then
Max is a sophomore. Max is a sophomore.
And Max is a sophomore. To have that production, obviously it speaks volumes in terms of obviously the development that you guys are able to do. But also on top of that, to have then a guy like Bishop, right, who you think experience and leader, kind of you can't get much better than that. To have that mix, what has that been like seeing him?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm fortunate to have inherited James,
Yeah.
And so he's the perfect guy that as you're building the program and adding new pieces and trying to develop young players, that you also have an anchor like James within the program. One, he works in a way that I think it's really easy for the guys to see that and say, okay, this is what an all conference level player, how he approaches the game and how he works, right? His seriousness, his relationship to to feedback when he's being coached, and how he handles that, and what he's been able to do to transform his body, like all those things. He really leads by example. He's a quiet leader, but he leads by example. And so it's been great for me. His points and assists are obviously so important, but really the way he goes about his business, I think, has really helped the younger guys. Helped Max, I think, tremendously too.
Absolutely. And one of those guys, just a couple more questions. Look at Trey Autry. All freshmen also aren't built the same. He's a true freshman in terms of, hasn't sat out in terms of his age and experience. Really impressed what he did in that Hofstra game. Again, what has it been like coaching him, how coachable he is, and again, where he is this early in his collegiate career?
Yeah, he hasn't shot it great percentage-wise, but he shot it great in the scrimmages. And so a lot of confidence in his shot. But really, I think he's a guy who he plays with great effort. He's the first to the floor. He really tries to maximize his abilities in terms of what he can do defensively. And then he's not a mistake player. He's a guy who makes simple plays, right? He will shot fake, put the ball on the ground, make the next easy pass play. He will drive the ball when there's space and then play on 2 feet, make a good decision. And obviously, he's a threat to make threes. He's a verbal leader, even as a young guy. Coach's son, very mature. He obviously comes from a great, great family. As the way he carries himself, his positivity on a daily basis, all those things, I think, he's just like our other freshmen, to be honest. Jacoy is probably very similar in that sense. Jacoy is sort of wise beyond his years, all the experience he's had at IMG and with Team Takeover and at DeMatha. Like both of those guys, they provide a calmness for young players that is rare.
A guy even like Buchanan and Johnson, obviously Joshman, freshman of the week. I've talked to him. A lot of attention, deservingly has gone to him and what he has gone through and how he's been able to produce. But the ability for Buchanan, the versatility of a guy like that.
He's really, I certainly benefited from his time at Virginia Tech, redshirting. But his, ability to play the game, as a playmaker in the front court, as a defender of 5 different positions, as an unselfish guy, a driver with physicality, even at a young age, I think is for me, I look at him almost like a Draymond Green type, and he's been really good early on here. And I think, again, another guy who's can eventually be a verbal leader. He's got a kind of exuberant personality.
Yeah. And last question, UNH. You got UNH coming up, tough team. Beat a good Brown team. What have you seen from the tape with them? And again, as you guys continue to form this next game.
Yeah, really, really impressed with Nathan Davis and what he's been able to do there. Daniel's a terrific player. I think has to be in consideration for player of the year in that league. He was all league player. Very, very difficult cover for any team. I think their ability to spread you out, playing with tremendous pace, putting some shooting on the floor around Daniels, some speed with Robinson at the point, ability to post up, some diversity offensively, I think for sure. Difficult team to defend. And I think, again, for our young group, I asked them to have the best defensive game of the year thus far on Tuesday against Hofstra. We're going to need that again here on Saturday because I think Daniels and then the complementary pieces around him and sort of the system in which they're playing right now. They're a very, very difficult team to defend. They're scoring a ton of points. They scored a ton of points on Brown, on Syracuse. So they're a good team. And this, I wish my students weren't home for Thanksgiving. We'll see how many stick around DC for Saturday. But we've had an incredible student support. It's been awesome. Smith Center's been rocking, and we're going to get them back soon. So I'm glad we're going to the Bahamas, so we don't play any games during Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, Chris, appreciate the time as always.
Thank you.
And we'll touch base throughout the year. Best of luck against UNH.
Awesome. Thanks for everything you do.